What a whirlwind of the last, like, I don't even know, like 12 hours, honestly. So I'm going to Disney. So my sister-in-law and mother-in-law, future, had a trip booked, and it happened to be lined up with the days that I'm out of school, between our breaks. Normally year-round doesn't get a break between years, but with COVID they had to change the schedule, and I don't understand all of it, but anyway, we get a break. It's like right about a week, yeah, technically 5 like work days that we get off, and they're going in that time. And they had asked me last week, kind of like, oh, you should come. And so I would kind of drag my feet and looked at some flights, and they were really expensive out of the 2 main airports I was looking out of. And today I have to meet with a person at our venue for our wedding to kind of go over some things. So I was like, I don't think it's gonna work. So I kind of dragged my feet. Then yesterday on my way home from work, I was like, wait a second, there's a smaller airport near where I'm gonna have to meet our venue person, I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but anyway, or I'm gonna have to meet her, that I can check. And they had some flights that were more expensive than I would normally pay, but not bad, especially for its last minute. And we had American Airlines flight credit from when we canceled our honeymoon. So I really didn't have to pay that much, like, at all with that credit. And I only used my ticket credit, so we still have a little bit of credit left over, actually. Anyway, so I booked my flight like 13 hours ago at like 7 o'clock last night. Didn't have park tickets, still only have 1 park ticket because tickets are sold out. I don't know, when I went to go, I bought the 1 ticket, and when I went to go make a park reservation, because that's what you currently have to do, all the parks were available. But when you go to buy the ticket, it only showed like 2 of the parks available. So I think there's more availability than they're actually showing. And if I could only get tickets, I could get park passes. So that's gonna be the challenge, is let's see how many park passes I can get. But I'm just kind of finishing packing up and tidying. Oh, it looks kind of like a mess actually, because this is so last minute. Tidying up the bedroom and whatnot, and I've got to take someone out. And then I'm gonna get on the road because it's about a 2-hour drive to where I have to meet our venue person. But I'm so excited, and this is so not like me. I called my mom this morning and I was like, I think I'm turning into you, because this is something she would do. Anyway. All right, well, I just made it to the airport. I had my meeting with the person from the venue. That went fine. I've got a lot of decisions to make, but I kind of already knew that. After that, I had like an hour to kill, so I just ran into Target close by and picked up a couple snacks to take with me. I always like to have a few things to like munch on, so I got some goldfish and some cookies. And then I went to Chick-fil-A to grab lunch because I'm so hungry. But I drove to the airport first before getting Chick-fil-A. And I've never flown out of this airport. It's a much smaller airport than I normally fly out of. It's really nicely landscaped though. Like, coming in, the like plants and all look lovely. But I had a very difficult time trying to figure out where the entrance to the garage was. Like, I could see the garage, and I did an entire lap around the garage twice. The first time, I guess I just missed the entrance. There are several entrances that are like blocked off with like the gates and the do not enter. And I missed the one that you actually enter into. So, took a little bit of looping around to figure that out. But I'm parked, and I'm going to eat my Chick-fil-A, and then I'll go inside. I've got like 3 hours until my flight, and it's a small airport, so I'm not super worried about like getting through security and then finding my gate, because I think there's only a few to find. So I'm gonna eat Chick-fil-A, and then I will update you later. Well, I thought this update was gonna be very different. Back to you from my car. So my flight out of this small airport to Charlotte was delayed. It got delayed once, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to somebody about this, because I don't think that's gonna give me enough time to make my connecting flight. And before I even got the chance to talk to anybody, it was delayed again, and I definitely wasn't gonna make my connecting flight. So I had to talk to somebody, and there was nothing. Like, my flight was the last one out of Charlotte to Orlando. So I'm leaving tomorrow morning from Raleigh. And now I have to make the trek back to my house, which is like a 2-hour drive that I don't want to do. This is the first I didn't really want to ever experience. I don't know, I guess at least I didn't have any park tickets or park passes. Oh good, that light was on. Okay, well, hopefully. Also, Biden is coming in to just land in RDU, so apparently traffic's gonna be terrible. So yay! Fun times. Okay, I need to get off here before I have a meltdown. All right, take 2 of trying to make it to Disney or Orlando. We're out of the state of North Carolina. Good morning. It is almost 5 o'clock, which means I'm about ready to leave. I've been up since 4, just getting ready and kind of repacking some stuff that I had to take out of my bag. My flight this morning leaves out of Raleigh at 7:15, so that means I need to get to go into the airport because I'm about 40 minutes away. I fly from Raleigh to Miami to Orlando, so it's another connecting flight, which makes me nervous. I feel like connecting flights are tarnished for me for now. Hopefully I'll get into Orlando around 12. That's the goal. I did not work out this morning because after getting 3 hours of sleep last night and the day I had, and I would have had to get up at 2:30. That's not happening. So I might work out when I get to the resort. We'll just kind of see. I also am probably going to just grab Starbucks from the airport once I get there because I don't feel like making any kind of breakfast right now. Yeah. So I gotta get my car packed up and then I'll be on my way. All right, so it's 5:30. I just made it to my airport, which I'm more familiar with, which is nice. However, I do not normally fly out of this terminal, so I gotta figure that out. I'm sure it's not that big of a difference, but it's just a little bit of a difference. It actually only took me 30 minutes to get here though, so that's nice. So I'm gonna go check in. Hopefully there's no glitches with everything that happened yesterday. And then I'm probably gonna get Starbucks because I'm not as tired as yesterday because I actually got some sleep, but I'm still pretty tired. All right, so I made it to Miami, which is progress over yesterday. I'm just waiting to board my next flight. When I was in the Raleigh airport, I'd never been on that side because I'm only flying Southwest, which is a completely different terminal, but it's actually very nice. They had this, it's called The Farm, and it's a local bakery. So I got breakfast there rather than Starbucks because it's quite honestly better. They had several other local places that are really good that we like. So that was kind of nice. I don't know. I like Southwest and I don't think it's enough to fly a different airline to go out of that terminal, but it was a nice surprise. I think I'm going to read for a little bit until the next flight. And then hopefully in a couple hours I'll be on property. I just landed in Orlando. I've got to get my bag and then I'll head to Magical Express, and in the meantime I'm going to try to call and get a ticket for tomorrow because I don't know if I've already said this, but I woke up at 4:30 this morning and there was availability, but it wouldn't let me buy it. It wouldn't let me get the ticket. So I'm gonna call and see if there's any way, because I couldn't call before 7 a.m. and by that time I was on a plane. So I'm gonna see if there's anything they can do because it's not looking too great for tomorrow. I'm finally here at Coronado. So I just got off Magical Express, walked through the tower and headed to the room. I spent an hour and 15 minutes, the whole time I was claiming my bag, waiting for Magical Express to go, the whole ride on Magical Express, spent the whole time on hold. I think I might just go to a guest services and see if they can do anything. I doubt they'll be able to anyway, but I really don't have anything else to do. I think I am gonna work out, just a quick one, and then definitely grab something to eat. I'm not hungry yet, but I definitely will be pretty soon. Oh, look, there's nice in the background. I stepped in and it just smelled so nice. I'm so happy to be here. We're actually staying in the Rancho section, so like the standard rooms, not the tower, but I think we're pretty close to the tower, to be honest. So I'm gonna head to our room, check it out. Oh, and I'm just so happy to be here. This just like makes me smile. Oh, there's a lizard. All right, talk to you later. I'm here. So I just walked in the room for a second. I did not think the like door app unlock feature was gonna work, but it was just because I had Bluetooth turned off. So it didn't work at first, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to make the trek back to the tower to figure this out. And I'm not even technically on the reservation yet. Whoops. So we had to figure that out tonight. But after it didn't work, it like let me try again. In the middle of me trying again a second time, it told me to turn Bluetooth on. So I did that and it worked. I know people have had trouble with unlocking their doors. A lot of times though, the magic bands won't work, but the app will. So that's kind of interesting. This room is really, really nice. Like very updated because they just kind of updated all of Coronado when they did the tower. And it kind of, a lot of the like details kind of mimic what you see in the tower. I'm so excited to be here though. I did jump off that call. So I'm gonna go for a run, and then I still don't know if I'm gonna make a trek to like a park or Disney Springs to try to sort out a ticket. I don't know. Either way, I'm gonna do a quick workout and then head somewhere to get food, whether that is somewhere that also will provide guest services. I don't know yet. So I'm just really excited to finally be here. Ooh! All right, so ignore all the sweat. I just got done running. I'm gonna head back to the room and do some core stuff. But I cannot tell you how nice it is to be able to run without like having to wear a mask on my chin or something here, because it is humid, clearly. It's not like hot, it's actually very overcast, but the humidity has to be like 100%, because you walk outside and it just feels like sticky. But it's so nice this is my favorite place to run, so it's nice to be here. I just feel like I need a shower now though. Okay, so what definitely started as a very stressful trip with a change of flight day, airport location, having no tickets, I just scored my last park ticket. I still needed one for tomorrow at Epcot, and I was stalking the site, like nonstop refreshing, go back, change ticket. And I really only had I need a 3-day ticket, but I only had 2 days because I'm like, well, I don't want to book 3 days if I end up not being able to get it. So I had to first change how many days I had and to go from 2 to 3. And my start date was on the 27th which is Sunday, tomorrow Saturday, which I need the Epcot one for. So my start date was on Sunday, the 27th, because you can't book a ticket unless all the days that your ticket covers has availability. So that was the issue to begin with, was like there was always a day in the middle that didn't have availability, so I could only book like 1 or 2 days. So I had to change the number of tickets, I had to change the date, and then I had to actually go book my park pass. Which I've heard this, but I didn't realize how true it was. Like I thought it was just like sometimes it was the case, and maybe it is sometimes the case. The hardest part was getting the ticket. The park pass reservation, once I had the ticket, any of the parks were available. And I think that's changed. Maybe they've increased capacity and it's more of like they won't sell tickets now unless they have the capacity, because before there were definitely days like on previous trips where like if there were parks that weren't available on those days. I don't know. I think that might change like the day of, but I booked the 3 days separately, like at different times. And each time I went in, there was availability at every single park. So the hard part is getting the ticket apparently now. Maybe that's just happened for me, but I've heard that from several other people too. But I'm just really happy. Also, that means I don't have to make a trip to guest relations. So I'm gonna go to Disney Springs. I wanna try the Morimoto, like the street food, the quick service portion. I wanna try the ribs because I've been wanting to try them, and they're just kind of like I don't know how big they are honestly, but I don't think they'll be like a full on meal, but I'll just kind of like snack over the next few hours probably. because I am getting hungry. Not like terribly hungry, because I haven't eaten since 6:30 and it is just after 3. But I ate like, it was a big croissant sandwich thing. Anyway, I'm gonna catch a bus to Disney Springs and hopefully grab some food, maybe some Gideon's cookies. I don't know how the virtual queue is right now, so we'll see. Okay, so I'm at Disney Springs. Got over here, got in the virtual queue for Gideon's, which is like a little over 2 hours. Hopefully it won't take that long, but if it does, it is what it is. I don't have anything else to do. I also went and got it's not rosé, it's because it's not rosé, it's a red wine, vodka, and raspberry flavoring, but it's like a frozen wine like rosé would be. And then I got the ribs from Morimoto Asia street food, and they smell really good, so I'm about to eat those. And this will hold me over for a while. All right, so here are the ribs. They smell really good, and they're like crispy looking. So I'm gonna try these and drink on this, which is probably gonna turn my mouth red. Definitely didn't think about that one. Oh well. All right, so I'm still hanging out at Morimoto Asia because it is raining. It's kind of lightening up now, and I think it's about to stop because I just downloaded the Dark Skies app, which is like very precise to your location. Like it says Disney Springs is the location. So I think it's about to stop. I just finished the like frozen wine and the ribs. Frozen wine was okay. It was very heavy, and I think that's just because it was a red wine. The ribs were really good though. They were like very tender, and then the outside was kind of like crispy. And the sauce was good. I probably would prefer Polite Pig just because they have a little bit more options and like sides and whatnot. And it's about like you can get probably a full meal for about the same price, like a sandwich and a side. But they were definitely good, and I'd get them again. I think I would just prefer something else. But I'm probably gonna head out of here. And I don't know where I'm gonna go because I've got like another hour probably until I get called back for Gideon's. All right, so I got up because it stopped raining. It was still kind of drizzling when I got up, but I've kind of done like a half a lap around Disney Springs. And then I decided to walk over to Saratoga because I've never been over here and I do want to see it. And it's got a kind of like nice view across from there's Paddlefish, Disney Springs. And it's literally like right here. I've got still like an hour to kill probably. So I'm just walking over here, kind of taking in everything and getting in my walk for the day. Because this is like, I'm considering this my second workout. And that'll probably be the way I do it every day to this trip. Just do like a walk at night. So I'm gonna take in the scenes. There's some of the buildings that are like, I mean, this is considered a Congress Park, where it's like really close to Disney Springs. I mean, it's not like I can really see a whole lot, but it's an interesting, different perspective. All right, so it is right about 5:40 and I'm making my way back to Disney Springs. So I just came from the carriage house, which is like the pool and like main lobby area of Saratoga Springs. And I feel like everybody always talks about how big Coronado Springs and Caribbean Beach Resort are, but I feel like this is massive, like so much bigger. I don't know if that's just because I've already like walked a lot or what, but Congress Park is supposed to be like the preferred if you're wanting to be in like a walkable Disney Springs area, and I feel like that is very accurate. Like it's walkable if you're like used to doing a lot of walking, I guess. I don't know from the other areas, but it is a trek. Like even from like the side closest to Disney Springs is very short walk to Disney Springs, but the opposite side of Congress Park, even that's a trek. So like little kids or people with mobility problems, I feel like they'd struggle to make a walk over from definitely anywhere besides the Congress Park area, because it is quite a hike. That being said, I got lots of different vibes from this place. I don't know. Like the pool area reminded me of, there's a theme, I guess it's an amusement park, it's not really themed. Amusement park that I went to growing up called Carowinds, and the pool area there reminded me of like the water park section in Carowinds. I don't know why. It didn't really I think it was just the color scheme maybe, I don't know. And then the inside of the lobby, like their quick service called the Artist Palette, I think, that and their like lobby area, it reminded me of like, and not like a typical like grandma style necessarily, but like antiques and very like fragile things and dainty things. So it was a kind of weird mix. I definitely stay here, but I just didn't realize how big this place was. It's really spread out. Like the buildings are big, and it's a lot of walking if you're really wanting to take advantage of the fact that you're close to Disney Springs, unless you're like the closest building to Disney Springs. But hopefully about by the time I get back over there, it'll be close to the time that I get called for Gideon's. I was quoted in like 30 minutes would be 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is what they told me. So we'll see. Okay, so a lot has happened since I last checked in. I got my text for Gideon's at like 5:45, so I booked it over there because I was on the opposite end of Disney Springs. Didn't have to wait long once I was in like the actual line. I don't know, maybe 10 minutes if that. Then so I got 6 cookies because that's their like max that you can get. So I got 3 of their original because those are the ones you like the best. I got 1 peanut butter because those are pretty good too. And then I got the cookies and cream, which I haven't tried, and the pistachio toffee, which I think I tried it, but I can't remember. By the time I got out of Gideon's, it was pouring rain again, so I decided to book it to a resort to get something to eat, just something small. So I decided to come over to Polynesian at Captain Cook's and get their like Thai coconut meatballs. I've heard they're good. I just haven't ever had them, and it's one of those things that like I wanted to try, but I haven't wanted to go out of my way necessarily or like stop in the middle of the day to get them. So I'm gonna try those now. All right, so these are the meatballs. They don't honestly look like much, but I've just heard from multiple people that they're really good. So I'm gonna give them a try. We'll see. I also got water because I'm incredibly thirsty. I've been drinking a gallon of water a day for the last week, and I've had like no water today. So I'm extremely thirsty, so I'm glad to have that. All right, so verdict on the coconut meatballs. They were good. The sauce was really good. It had a little bit of a kick, but it was also kind of sweet and creamy. I'm assuming they use like coconut milk or something. But I mean, the rice was rice, but since I had the sauce in it, it was good. And then the meatballs, they were meatballs also. The problem that I had with them was they were really big, so once you bit into it, like once the sauce was off of it, there wasn't a whole lot of flavor going on. So they were good. I would get them again. They're good, like a good option if you want something that's quick and like you're near the Magic Kingdom or near a resort near Polynesian. I wouldn't go like out of my way if I was at like Pop Century or something to come get them, but if you're around and need something, they are good. They're good. I'm gonna go kind of walk around now just to kill a little bit of time, but my feet are kind of getting sore, so probably not for long. So there's all these little things right around the corner from Captain Cook's, and there's this picture, and I'm kind of wondering, like, is that concept art or something from like when they were first building? I'm not sure. Okay, so apparently when you stay at the Poly, you're fancy enough to have towels and umbrellas. I don't know how they like control that right when you come to the door when it's raining. All right, so I just took the monorail over to Magic Kingdom from the TTC. So Polynesian is within walking distance of the TTC, so I walked over to the TTC, took it in Transportation Center, and then I hopped on the monorail that goes straight to Magic Kingdom. Right now, that's the only stop it's making because there's no Epcot monorail. I figured that'd be a more interesting slash probably just as long of a wait slash line as doing a bus. So now I've got to find the bus for Coronado and bus back to Coronado because there's no resort to resort transportation. So Magic Kingdom was kind of my middle ground, and I caught the first glimpse of the castle for this trip, so that's exciting. All right, well, that was quite a saga of getting back. So I got a bus pretty easily. It was standing room, so there's several things on this trip that are like already very different from my last 3 trips, because the last 3 trips, pretty much all the restrictions were the same. So there was no spacing on the bus. If there was standing, which was fine. It wasn't like super cramped. I'd prefer just like, I'd rather wait on a bus and like not, which I could have, but I'm like, I guess we'll just go ahead and get there because it's raining like ridiculous. I just put a video on Instagram where it's like the water's draining off the roof, and it was like the backside of water because it is like literally a rainfall or a waterfall. So anyway, so caught a bus. The walk like to a building isn't too bad, like as far as being out in the open, so I like ran, but it is like raining really hard, and it was probably, I don't know, like 150 feet maybe. And then there was like one more little sprint where I had to cross from like building to building. Everything else was like under shelter, so that was nice. However, when I got to our building, I was still on the first floor, and my paper bag that was carrying my leftover meatballs and my Gideon's cookies just broke because it's a paper bag and it's wet. Thankfully Gideon's wraps their cookies, otherwise I would have been so upset. So anyway, so had to pick those up and like carry them, and it looks like I'm just carrying trash. There's a lady like that looked out her window because I was like, no, and I'm sure she was like, what's going on? So she was looking at me like carrying a bunch of trash essentially, but it's not trash because they're getting cookies, but it just looked like a piece of trash. So I had to carry that up here, and then when I got up here, the door would not unlock, and it wasn't like before. It was giving me just like a complete error code, like go see the front desk. So I was like, oh my gosh, I signed out, signed back in, and eventually it let me. I had to try it like probably 6 or 7 times though. So I'm back in my room. I'm gonna wind down for the night. It's like 8 o'clock, so they'll probably be back in like an hour and a half. Okay, really loud. Like an hour and a half maybe, because the park closes at 9. So I'm gonna wind down for the night. My feet are like killing me. I think I'm gonna have to use the moleskin, which luckily I did bring. I think last time I forgot it, but I didn't really need it, but I'm gonna need it this time. And I think it's partially just because my shoes were wet, and so like everything's just like rubbing differently. A couple things that are different from this trip also that I kind of like made notes of but forgot to say other times. In Magical Express, and I'm assuming, actually I know, at least in some of the rides it's like this, there's no more like queue lines. There's like the little strips of tape or whatever on the ground there, those aren't there anymore on Magical Express, and I'm pretty sure, I know they've started to take it away from the attractions. I'm not sure if it's all taken away. What else? Oh, the Polynesian has these fancy little towels. I think I got a clip of that. That was interesting. I'd never seen that before. And like umbrellas, but I'm like, how do they monitor? Like you just don't take an umbrella. I guess it's on an honor system, which is pretty nice. Obviously, the only place you have to wear a mask at Disney right now is transportation. That changed within the last like couple weeks. So monorails, boats, I guess boats, even though they're outside, and buses, you have to wear them. That's not even like enforced completely across the board. Like the first bus I took to Disney Springs, there was a group next to me that was not wearing a mask. So that's not like super enforced. So the monorail people were enforcing it, like they had a box of masks in their hand, and the bus people did too. They just didn't enforce it. Overall, most people, and I just went to Disney Springs today, so it might be different in the park. Most people are not wearing a mask. I'd say like 90% are not. But then the 10% who are wearing a mask, like half of them aren't wearing it correctly. Like they'll have it around their chin, or they'll have it just covering their mouth. So I'm not really sure what the point of that is, but I thought that was interesting. Like most people are not wearing it, and then of the people who are, they aren't wearing it like correctly, so I'm not sure why they're wearing it. Also, Disney Springs, when I got there at like 3:30, not crowded at all. To be expected, it's a Friday. But by the time I was leaving, it was packed. And somebody even made a comment like, she said, this is busier than the Magic Kingdom was yesterday. It was really crowded, and there was a lot of places where like bottlenecked, and I'm a fast walker, and I had to slow down because there was nowhere for me to go. And I'm just one person, so I can zig and zag pretty easily, but not in a few places in Disney Springs. So interesting things, very different. We'll see how Epcot is tomorrow, and what those changes look like though.